Episode 7, Story Traders Podcast.
Stories about pranks, part 2.
Part 2.
Okay, so I've got a story about my old boss. This
Let's
is a
hear it.
different old boss that I've talked about.
Wow,
that I've
so many
talked
old
about.
bosses.
Yeah, I've worked
You
at
just
several
got fired
places.
at like every job you've ever had?
No, but I was a contractor, so I worked at several different
So you
places.
were fired?
No.
Well,
Eh.
question.
Anyways, so Paul is the
Wow.
name of
Is this
one of my
a fake
old...
name?
No.
Oh, Paul,
It's
okay.
real. So he was one of my prior bosses. He was very busy. Okay, he's a lead mechanical engineer at one of my last jobs, and people were coming in constantly asking him questions from the shop, and then he had like 20 engineers under him that were like
Yikes.
doing all this work. So we were constantly asking him questions, clarification, just asking him to review design
Sounds
concepts
like guys, you
and
didn't
everything.
know how to do your job.
No, but I'll tell you what, it's super helpful when you have someone who has 20 years of experience versus like 7 years of experience. So he was always busy. And the problem was, like, if you had a question, he was frequently helping someone else out.
Dang.
So it's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to ever get help around here because the management was giving him too many people to manage and too many projects to manage. He was always busy. It was actually kind of frustrating. Not his fault. It was just like, well, it's hard for us to get our jobs done if we don't have someone that we can ask questions to.
Yeah.
So we started making this joke, just like some of us engineers, about how he needs like one of those take a ticket machines
Yeah.
that you see at like the deli at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know?
Or
And
wouldn't the BMV do that?
yeah, the
I guess they
BMV,
don't
the deli,
probably
literally
anymore, but yeah.
it's like it's wherever, has like a long line. You can take a ticket and then they say, "All right, serving number 87," whatever.
Yeah.
So we started talking. We're like, oh, we should just get one because you can pick them up on Amazon for pretty reasonably. So 3 of us went on this. It was like $20, and we decided we were going to set this up. It seems like a lot of our April Fool's pranks are work related.
Work involved.
Yeah. But so we bought this and we were going to set it up before he got into work. We were just going to set it on his desk.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't going to say anything. And so we did that. When he came in, he was just like paused and then kind of like laughed just real quietly and then goes, who did this? And we were like, well, what are you talking about? Whoa, Paul, look at that. You've got a take a ticket machine? He's like, yeah. I guess people got tired of me being too busy. We're like, oh, that's wild. That's so cool. I think that's going to really come in handy. And I'll tell you what, it was so funny. It was funny hearing his reaction to this, but it was way funnier to just hear everyone else's reaction. Every time people would come in after that, I mean, it was like months upon months after that. When people would come in, they would make a joke about this take a ticket thing.
Whoa.
They're like, oh man, Paul, all you need now is like a TV above your desk that says now serving number 89 or whatever. There was this one guy at one point, he went over to take a ticket and he took like 7 tickets. He's like, I'm just gonna take some extra tickets right now, just so I'm ready to cash in whenever I've got a question. And we're like, what?
You can't do that. One at a time, bud.
You can't do it that way. So, but it was just pretty funny. There was just like constantly jokes after that about, okay, who's next? It's
Yeah.
like sometimes we did it as a joke, but we actually legitimately used it after that. It was like, Paul, I've got the next one.
That's actually awesome.
And also, it was super helpful because then it was like anytime you needed help and he was busy, you could like walk over and just take a ticket in front of him, and he then just saw you, and he's like, okay,
And he's like,
they need
okay,
help.
eventually I
you
need to
know?
get over there.
Yeah. And
It
then
honestly would probably help, like, give him some ease of mind to not have to remember. Like,
Yeah.
he just like goes to the next number, and then he's like, okay, I'm done. Who's next?
Yeah.
Who's got the next one in line?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just so funny, and it worked out pretty perfectly because it was like started as a joke, and then it was like, actually, I think we're gonna use this. It was like 1,000 tickets. It worked. He's got I'm sure he still has tons more tickets to go, even though I'm not working there anymore.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's fantastic. The prank I'm going to tell, it's not as much of a prank as it is just like a funny thing that me and my friend have going on. Still going on currently, but back in college, I'm trying to remember why. I think it was for some class. We were in it together, and I asked if he wanted to like study for some exam or do some homework thing together or whatever. So we did, and I was like going out to Subway right beforehand. So I was like, do you want a Subway? He's like, yeah, sure. So I grab a Subway. We knock out the school. And then he like gave me like $5 in cash. But then he also gave me a Subway gift card that was for sure used because like the thing was scratched off on the back.
Yeah.
But he's like, I know it was more than $5. This has like, I think it's literally like a matter of cents. It's like 47 cents on it or something. Not much, but he's like, take it. I was like, no. I like literally, I asked you if you wanted Subway. I appreciated getting to do the schoolwork together. So like, take your money, take your gift card. I don't need it. I think he ended up like throwing in my backpack before I left. And then I found it later.
Just secretively.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, that kid, I told him I didn't need it. Okay, let's play this game. I was like, we can go back and forth. So literally, we have gone back and forth with this gift card that has, as I said, cents on it, and given it to each other just countless times.
Yeah.
It has literally happened. We've given it back and forth so many times. I don't even remember all the ways that we've given it to each other. But I did write down some ways that I remembered. One of the times I was out at his farm, and literally right before I left, I took the gift card. He was like out in the driveway, and I just flung it out my window, and then I did my window up, and I like
Took off.
zoomed out. I was like, this dude, I just left it with him. He cannot get it back at me. Another time, he was visiting, and
he lives like an hour away, so
Yeah.
it wasn't even
Yeah.
like he wasn't gonna
it's like
easily get it back. to you.
whenever somebody gets it, they're gonna have it for a couple
Yeah.
months. Like they just have it. Another time he was visiting, I think while he was inside, I took it and I put it under a windshield wiper.
Okay.
I was kind of figuring like, oh, he might like see it right when he gets in the car, and then it won't work. But I was like, he might not see it until he's on the road. And he didn't see it until he was on the road. He didn't actually see it until he was on the highway.
Oh my gosh.
And he said he just looks at the wiper and he sees this little gift card going.
I'm surprised it didn't just fly out.
No. Yeah, it stayed there.
Oh my gosh.
Even on 71. One time he gave it to my sister Adley.
Yeah.
Well, our sister. We do share a sister.
Yeah, we share a sister.
He gave it to Adley, and that was a time when he was actually living at our farm to go to main campus OSU, and I was still going to a branch of OSU up north. So like I was gone during the week, but he was there. So then he gave it to Adley, and then Adley like taped it to the inside of the back of my door at my parents' house.
Yeah.
So that one actually took me a little while to realize, because like I don't like I don't close my door a whole lot.
Uh-huh.
And then I closed it one time. I was like, what is this? Like a gift card just taped to the back of my door? What the heck? Another time, I he was visiting my nursery. Some other time we'll give some backstory behind what we do. But
Yeah.
I have a plant nursery, and I was giving him a plant, and the plant was already in his car, and he was inside. I went out to his car. I stuck the gift card like inside the pot. So I was like, gosh, I really hope he doesn't like take the plant out and then just like bury the card. Like I hope he sees it.
Well, it's gonna grow a foot long.
A foot long. Yeah, let's get a foot long from this thing. Turns out he didn't even plant it. He gave it to his mom to plant.
Oh yeah, I
and
remember
then
hearing about that.
And then his mom comes in and she's like, "There was a Subway gift card when I flipped the pot over." And he's like, "No way!"
Oh my gosh.
And then another time, this was like right before we were out for the summer. So like the last time he was going to see me until probably the next semester, he took out the sole of my shoe and he stuck it under the sole. And like, how often do you ever take the soles of your shoes out? Never. Literally never. So like he was texting me on that first day of summer break, and he was trying to like hint that maybe I have the card. Like you should like look around. I was like, it's not in my car. Like I've looked everywhere. And then he eventually was like, you're never going to find it. It's in your shoe. And I was like, what? Like at that point, I didn't even think of the sole. So I was like, I was looking under the laces. I was like, it's not in my shoe. He's like, look under the sole. So I took my sole out, and I was like, I had walked probably a mile that day.
Oh yeah.
So I actually like cracked the card a little
Oh, you
bit.
cracked the card.
Yeah, not
Do
fully.
you still have the card?
Well, if
does
he
he have
listens,
the card?
no, who knows?
He might have the
Who
card.
knows? But yeah, so it did get a little cracked.
Yeah.
But I think the last one I wrote down. Yeah. The most recent time that I can remember that we exchanged the card, when he came to our wedding. He had a card that he dropped in the basket there. And it's funny because like you pull out a card and like what you make a judgment off like what you see first. And the way he stuck the card in there was backwards. So I didn't see that it was a Subway card.
So
I just saw
like
that
a
it was
gift card.
it was specifically the back of the card. But I could see that like this card is old and dirty and like it. So I pulled this card out. Like you can't tell when you're opening a card like who it's from, obviously. So I opened up this card and I was like, who the heck gave me a used gift card? I was like, what a wedding present that is. And
Isabel was like, what the crap?
And then I turned it over. I was like, oh, that sucker gave me the Subway gift card in a wedding card. So that was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But as I said, not really prank, but it's
The prank of it is that you guys keep exchanging it without the other person knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like constantly trying to figure out a new way to get the card of sense back to the other person without them knowing. So, yeah. Pretty funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so the last one that I have is also going back to when I was in college. So we had this, so like a bunch of us were in the same, my degree was agricultural engineering. So a lot of us had the same classes on ag campus at Ohio State. And one semester we had like a personal development class at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. And that was like
horrible time.
Yeah, it was terrible. And the actual class was pretty easy, but the timing was awful. So like we would get out of, I think our other class which was still on ag campus at like 4:00. So then we just have 3 hours to kill.
Oh,
so we're
that's
just
the
working
worst.
on homework together. A lot of times we were actually working on the personal development homework.
I think
just
I know
trying
which
to get it
prank
done.
you're gonna tell. This is so funny.
This is such a good one. Just trying to get the personal development homework done before the class actually starts at 7. And
Come on, we got a lot of young listeners out there. Could be good examples. Do your homework.
Do your homework. We still got it done in time. Okay. But so
don't procrastinate.
Two of my friends, Allison and Michelle, would go out and pick up food before our class, like every week. And a lot of times they would either eat the food in the computer lab before the class started, or they might even just bring the food into class.
Did they have a meal plan?
No, I don't think so. No.
Oh,
I don't think
did
either
you
of
have
them
any
were
friends
working
with
on
a meal plan?
Yeah, I did. And one of them,
Those were the friends.
Sam. Oh man, I've got some stories to tell about Sam, especially related to our wedding. But Sam, there were a couple times where he was going home, and like for the weekend or whatever, it was like a short week, and he hadn't used all of his meal plan. He was just like, "Hey, you want to go to the cafeteria with me?" And I'm like commuting every day. I'm like, heck yeah, I'll go to the cafeteria with you. He's like, you can just like have a meal for free. I was like, oh yeah. So, but they did not have a meal plan. So they were just going out most of the times to go to like Bob Evans to just get takeout.
Wow. Bougie.
So yeah.
Bougie for college.
So this one time they decided they were going to go out to Bob Evans and pick up food, and they had the Bob Evans menu up on their computers.
Okay.
Allison specifically, who was on the computer right next to me.
Yeah.
She's just like looking through the Bob Evans menu just to figure out what she wants. Finally, they figure it out. They leave. Allison makes the grave mistake of not locking her computer. And let me tell you what, I was not going to let that go.
Yeah.
So there were a bunch of times that this had happened in the computer lab where someone forgot to lock their computer and then they come back and something's changed. This time in the computer lab, you've got 2 monitors, okay? And if you're at all familiar with how Windows does like dual monitors, you've got whichever one like on the left side has all of the desktop icons on it, and then on the right side it's empty. It's just got the desktop background. Okay. So the way that Allison had left her computer up was with the browser with Bob Evans menu on it.
Okay.
On the right side. So what I did was I took a screenshot of that side of that monitor.
Yeah.
So it just looked like the browser with the Bob Evans menu on it. I took the screenshot and then saved it as the background of her desktop and then minimized the browser window.
Okay.
So then when she came back, it was exactly how she left it in her own head.
It was just a picture.
But it's just the picture of the desktop. And so she gets back and she's like trying to minimize this window and it's not doing anything. And then she's trying to like close the window and it's not doing anything. She's like, this stupid thing, why is it not? It's just like all frozen up and everything. And there were a bunch of us that were in on it at this point. Everyone knew that I had done this.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like laughing and she gets kind of self-conscious sometimes. And she's just like, what? Why is everyone laughing at me? It was so funny. It was very classic. It actually related to her. There was one other time that another classmate, Owen, who they're now married, actually.
Oh, yeah.
He had taken so in the computer lab, there are like computer stations that are like back to back.
Yeah.
So you can like look across the monitors at someone else who's at the computer station right across from you. Mm-hmm. And when she had left the computer lab at one point, he came in and got underneath the desk and unplugged his mouse and plugged it into her computer.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Oh, it was so funny because then she came back and she goes, "Hey, Owen." And he's like, "Hey." And she sits down and she starts working. And when she's like moving her mouse, he was
Just
barely moving his mouse. So then, like, if she was trying to move it somewhere to click on a certain button, he was moving it just enough so that it was like weird in her head. Like, this is moving more than it should move.
Moving more or less?
Well, it was either way. It could be moving more or less depending
so
on
just
which
like
way
be
he was moving.
completely off.
Because sometimes he was moving it up, sometimes he was moving it down. It was so funny because it took her a hot minute to understand what was going on. She's like, "Someone's messing with my computer." Oh man,
I'll tell you what, computer issues is the quickest way for me to be.
I am
annoyed.
I'm aware.
Yeah, you've seen it. It's
Yeah,
just like,
this is why Josiah has a greenhouse.
yeah. Well,
He's not like working in IT.
Yeah, goodness, yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I still have to do some computer stuff, but yeah, not nearly as much as most people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like I can take like annoying people all day long, but like an inanimate object, aka a computer, is not doing what it's designed to do or what I feel like it's designed to do. And I can't figure it out. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the mouse scenario where it's like, oh, it is doing something, but it's not doing what
it's not
I'm
doing
telling
what
it
I'm
to
expecting it to do.
do. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we've got a review for you to read, okay, from Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
Leave us a 5-star review, and maybe we will read it on the channel, okay? Also, leave us comments on, like, YouTube or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, as long as you're able to leave a comment. So here's the review. Go ahead.
This is a wonderful 5-star review titled Wholesome and Hilarious. This is Aw. This is one of the best duos out there. It's so fun to hear all the memories from a healthy family. These guys are hilarious and genuine, also a little weird. Yeah. But that adds to the fun.
Oh,
Whoa.
there goes Alexa telling us to plan dinner.
Scaring me. At 4:37 p.m.? Why?
I don't know. They might have not even heard that. We probably could have gotten away without saying anything about it, but go ahead.
Well, I heard it. Looking forward to more episodes. Love it.
Nice. Yep. Okay.
Review.
That is episode 7 of the Story Traders podcast. Pranks part 2. Join us next time.
Send us some funny stories that we
send
can,
us some funny stories.
we can read.